Hello, my people. Welcome to another session of Nourish, Flourish, Vida. Bear with me. I'm curious. There's something I find very curious every year. It is this thing that is the New Year resolution. I mean, at least we're through first quarter of the year, the first 3 months. That's what we're approaching now. To God be the glory. For most people, I don't know about you, but in my younger days, when I attempted this foolishness called New Year's resolution, that's what I call it. I call it foolishness. No matter how you do it, no matter how I try to stick with it, never work. And now I'm coming back to ask people, how has your New Year's resolution, particularly, I don't care about anything also. See, on this channel, we focus on going back to the basics of food. I'm curious, your New Year's resolution, when it came to the food, how has it fared? How have you fared till now? Has it worked? If it worked, my brothers, drop your comments. But for most people, I want to tell you, don't kill yourself, because the food industry, you were never designed to win. It was never a question of being an equal partner on a partnership deal when it comes to food. And I will explain with you. Just humor me on this journey. Let's deep dive into this New Year's resolution and why I personally call it a scam. Before I start to go deep dive, let me put out this disclaimer on this channel. I'm not a medical person. This channel is literally focused on educating from my own roots, from what worked from my grandmother's time and seeing where we are in 21st century. So stay with me. Let's deep dive on why the stacks you were never designed to win this game when it comes to your New Year resolution on food, on your eating habits. And I will explain why. You see, there are a few things that we forget. There's one thing that I honestly believe, that the human body is the most patient, and at the same time, fundamentally, it is the most, it is, should I call it organ? It's not an organ. It's a system that is prevalent to being the most abused one. Every time you deep dive, you walk out on the journey, you wake up and you beat your hand on the chest, like Ago, like the lion that you are, or the lioness you are, and you say, I will restart my button on my New Year's resolution at the start of. Every time you do that, there's something that is fundamentally missing in your equation. So you take into, most people will do plus and minus balances. You clear out your food junk. You focus on what you're cooking, what you're eating. You focus on the calorie intake, the plus and minus as is designed, they tell you. But I'm here to tell you, while you're focusing on the plus and minuses and you're being sold this facade, there is something called your body. You see, that body doesn't understand you. You are not communicating in the same language. There is no way you can communicate if we're not speaking the same common language. And the common language your whole body understands, the organs inside your body, and I would highlight the threefold core systems or organs that come into play every time we put something through our mouth, from your liver to your pancreas to your kidney, and I will explain why. While you're busy doing your calculation, all the organs, all your body and the system knows is input, output, what you put it, what you feed it, and what it throws out. That is all. It's a simple mathematics. It's not, we don't need to go back to school here. You see, should I call it the multi-trillion food industry, particularly if you live in the West. And I'm talking about if you live in the United Kingdom, if you live in Europe, if you live in North American continent. And I think, if you live in the West, the multi-trillion food industry, they play on our psychology. They know that the best time to put more money towards advert is in the new year, because they understand that is when most people are motivated. You are motivated to go out and do the self-improvement. You are motivated to pay for gym, whereas if some people have gym. I mean, I'm restarting my gym membership. Most people pay for gym membership. It is when you're most active and you can go to gym, you can bounce around, you can walk around. That is when you see they give you. I'm on, on this channel. I'm going to use the things that are real to me, the things that I know. That is when they will give you puff puff, and you go, you cannot tempt me. They offer you chin chin. You say, no. Devil behind me. But they understand. They sell you this fallacy. They sell you this myth that it is what I call your temporary bus stop, temporary landmark. They make you believe that every new year you can hit restart button. So they bombard you with advert. If they're not bombarding you with advert, if you're able to say, go behind me, Satan, on the advert, they catch you, they get you at the cleanse diet. By the 7 days, 21 days, 41 days, how many other days? I don't know. I don't pay attention to it. And I think in my 40s, I can say what I want because I've earned that right. I'm not being patriot. This is not an ad for sale. It is education and helping people realize it is really important we all go back to food, to the basics of food. And whilst we are going on that journey, we use our number 6. My mom says common sense is no longer common, and it is no longer common, my brothers and my sisters. So when they're not, if they don't catch you with the advert that bombard you, it's psychology. Then they wait for you at the other bus stop of, what is the other bus stop? They wait for you at the other bus stop where they basically bombard you with the cleanse diet. All this too, whether it is the motivation, it is all designed that you can see it as you hit a restart button. But I'm here to tell you, while they're selling that restart button, the one thing they're not telling you or not reminding you that your body does not work on that. Your body is not going to wait for you to get to the next year, to the next New Year resolution before it continues with the cycle of what it does. Your body only knows what is on that next plate, what is on your next meal, what are you about to feed it. That is all it knows. Your body, and once you take it, you will eat it. The body will process it. My brothers, my sisters, it's a wake-up call. Now, why is it important to understand that going back to basics with food starts with what is on your plate? What is the next meal you're about to feed your system? Let me give you let's take a little detour back to biology. I'm not sure many people, but biology was one of my favorite subjects. But let's go back to basics. At a very high level, I'm not going to take you. You need to understand what the organs in your body, their functions, and what they help the body to do. Let's start with the liver. I don't know if most people realize that the liver is actually the first organ. It acts as your body's defense system. So every time you put anything, you open your mouth, and you feed it, the liver is the first thing that kicks in. It is your body. It has to filter it. It has to act as its defense. The next thing, once it filters it, then the digestion process in the body then pushes it further along. I'm not going to go to all the little bits and the all different organs. I'm going to focus on the threefold core, what I call the threefold core organs that come into play every time we open our mouth. We do and every time we feed it, that's what happens. The next one that is important in my list is the pancreas. For a lot of people, only when, heaven forbid, you have a health issue do you get to realize. And if it's a health issue relating to pancreas, that's where you get to begin to understand how important the pancreas is in the body. I'm sure most people know, but on this channel, we don't assume. We don't assume that people know what the pancreas does. The function of the pancreas in your body is to produce insulin. Let me explain why that is so important. You see, every time you eat something, your liver first of all, jumps into action and filters it and makes sure that there is no health or no dangerous substances that are being introduced into the body's ecosystem. Once it's satisfied that it's all done, it continues the digestive process. One of the key things is that if you've eaten anything that you've eaten, particularly if it has sugar, it gets released into your blood. And this is why when they start talking about ultra processed food, UPFs. They start talking about the carbohydrates. They start talking about why it's important as we get older to eat less carbohydrate, more leafy vegetables. Because the more sugar that is released into your blood system, it causes a blood sugar spike. The pancreas then produces, or it creates the insulin. Insulin floods into your system, forcing the spike in the blood sugar to be reduced. Now, your kidney is a blood cleanser. That's the main function of the kidney. Your kidney filters your blood. So as it circulates, it filters the blood. It takes what is vital. I'm not going to go into deep dive. Maybe look through our archives and see the video where we walk you through the digestive system. So, because I'm a big believer, if you understand what is happening inside your body, it may help you think twice before you put that next thing in your mouth. Or if you've if you've eaten 5 puff, it will help you be able to say, no, today this one is enough. Or if you're a lover of plantain like I am, you'll be able to say, you know what, 1 fried plantain in a week is more than enough. I will swap it to a boiled one or roasted one. Let's keep it real. We're in a real battle here. If you don't know, you are in a real battle within yourself and the billion food industry. So when you really fundamentally think about that, every time you introduce this New Year resolution of food, you have gone from eating 3 cups of rice, 1.5 cup of rice, and now you have gone to eating only, say, just vegetables. Or you have gone from one extreme yo-yo into another. What you're not taking into consideration is what is happening to these organs. Because every time we go through this process, all you're forcing your body is you're causing it to go into shock. The system is wondering what is going on. It is not practical, it is not long-term, and it's not sustainable in any way, means, or shape or form. That is what happens. So this is a little detail on biology. Now, for you to be able to understand, until we understand the lessons in the past, we cannot really go forward now. So for you to adapt, because one of my favorite African proverbs, Nigerian proverbs, says, when the bird learns how to fly without perching, the hunter, which in this case is you and me, we must learn how to shoot without missing. Since this multi-trillion food industry have devised multiple ways to play with our senses, our psychology. My brothers, my sisters, we must equally adjust to be able to sniff out which one is the real thing and which one is not the real thing. Walk with me on this pathway. Let's start with the one that I call the group 1. I call them the health halo effect. It's in broken English. It is the one that is, the more you look, the less you see. What do I mean by that? In this bucket, let's tackle it. Number 1 is the buzzword. What is the buzzword? Natural, artisanal, whole grain. These are the buzzwords you see written on the food packages. But these buzzwords, when you look at the ingredients at the back, you find that it has walked a long way. When they're telling you natural, they don't mean in the natural state that will provide the most, give your body the nutrients it needs. It has gone through a process now. It has now become, like my mom will always say, when a handshake passes an elbow, it's no longer a handshake. It is something else. Yes, they may have started with natural, but they have so gone far down the road, it's no longer natural. It is not the natural thing. It's no longer whole grain. It has now become something that is a byproduct of natural. So please help me understand, because English is not my first language, but help me understand how byproduct of natural can be termed the same thing as natural. It is not the same. So be wary. Another reason to flip the product back. The next one we're going to tackle, number 2 on their list. If they don't catch you with that natural, artisanal, they catch you with gluten-free, gluten or plant-based. But again, that doesn't erode the fact that when they put that, when you look at the list, it's another byproduct. It may have started as plant-based, but it is now filled in the base of the food, base of the base of the main ingredient is a factory-made product. It's a factory-produced product that is loaded with nothing but artificial addictive fillers in the food. That's what is in it. Things that you don't even understand. And the third one under this healthy hello effect is where they then use the colors, your package, the product package. You see, they use what they call the earthing colors, the green, the dark brown, the natural, the light brown. Things that are closely, you can argue, they're Earth's natural colors, Earth's natural tones. And then, of course, on the writing on the package will be matte. It's matte finish. It's not glossy to make it. So it's all designed to sell you the idea that this one is really aligns to nature. It's in tune with nature. You're so far from it. Nothing could prepare you. You are not closer to it. That is our category A. Let's deep dive on category B. On category B, this is the main market. This is where marketing finished itself. This is where marketing concluded itself. Here, on this particular one, this is the one they sell you. Where you look at your packaging and you've got lovely fruits. Is it strawberries? Is it apple that is on the front package? But I want to break something down for people. The food regulatory body, at least here in the UK, as long as you have at least 1% of that fruit, they are allowed to plaster on the packaging. They are allowed to plaster the fruit as if the product, that food item that you're buying is loaded with that product. At best, it may be just not even 1% of the fruit. It may be just 1% of that particular fruit flavoring. With this, they're allowed to do checklists. They've met the requirement. That's what the law mandates. So they have met the requirement. So in essence, what am I saying? If your product you're buying has a glossy of all packets of like strawberries stamped all over the front package, read the barcode, because more than likely what you will have is 1% of that strawberry flavoring. You might not even have the 1% of the strawberry, because that will push up the cost. Number 2, this same 1% applies to whole grains. You see, the product could be loaded with refined flour and only have 1% of the real whole grain. Again, they have met checklist. Big tick. The third but not the least is the one that that's the one that I've never been able to rack. Is the one that says fortified with vitamin. Whatever product you are, and we both know the one that comes to mind right now is cereals. Fortified with vitamin. Does fortified with vitamin erode the fact that the base ingredient of that product is loaded with sugar? It is so loaded with sugar, and in most times it's not just one sugar. This session, I'm going to do a deep dive, another video on sugar, so that we can understand what's going on, what we're being played with. It doesn't change the fact that fortified with vitamin, when your base ingredient is already sugar, what are you fortifying? What is it designed to do? Because either way you look at it, when you feed inside your body, your pancreas, your body will be flooded with sugar. Your pancreas has to work overtime. It has to work overtime to produce insulin, which can force it. By the time you do this yo-yo, left, right, you know where we're going to end up. You are ending up almost at the doorstep of diabetes. And this is where my great respect to Chinua Achebe said, when poverty comes knocking at your door, this time around I'm going to interject it and say, when diabetes come knocking at your door, if you tell it I don't have stool, I don't have anything to accommodate it, you tell it, don't worry, I came with my brothers, my uncles, my sisters, my fathers. Together we have come. Stop it before it stops you is where I'm going to. That's the second one. The third one is the serving portions. You know the portion, the serving size, the recommended serving size. It is practically plastered on every product. But tell me, how does that work when we look at it? You and me are real. So let's keep it real here. You buy a packet of biscuit. They tell you, oh, 2 of this would only give you 70 grams. But meanwhile, you have a packet. You have a packet about maybe 15 cookies or biscuit. You know, before we buy those things, use something you already like. How is it going to work? They sell you this unrealistic portion control as if we're robotics, that we can control it. I mean, for some of us, we are very good at controlling. But there are others, even if you control it today, would you control it tomorrow? Would you control it the next tomorrow? Especially if it's something that you like. You can control it very well if it's not something you like. I'm not sweet tooth. So when it comes to this control, it means nothing to me. You put something sweet around me, it means nothing to me. But it's a whole different kettle of fish. It's a whole different ball game when you put plantain next to me, because he is my favorite thing. That now we're talking my language. If you control A, would you control B? If you control B, would you control C? They put this unrealistic serving size that makes you think, if I only have 2 of this biscuit, if I only have 1 packet of this cookie, if I only have 1 packet of this crisp, out of the bag of 10, 15, I'm gonna be okay. Is it not better you don't even have it at all in front of you? Does it not make your life 1,000 times easier? No man is robotic. You could be having a really awful day. You might have started your day great. By the time you come back, you might have left work. But by the time you get home, with the traffic and everything, we are all human beings. You might get home, and by the time you put the kids and sort out your life, you have no energy. Before you can say changom, you find yourself reaching for that thing. That's what I'll tell you, it's unrealistic. So these are the 3 categories. Now you might ask me, see, how can we come back to it? How do we come back to basics? Let's treat it. Let's go through it. That will be the next section in the video. You see, let me explain how we can all walk back to the basics on food. And while we're doing that, let's apply common sense. Because in this 21st century, I'm finding more and more that common sense is no longer common. My mom used to say that when she gets angry, she will tell you common sense is not common. It's no longer common. We are nothing but checks and balances on this food companies, food industries balance sheet. They don't have your best interest at heart. They use a base product, produce something. No longer do they care. They load it with fillers. Some of the fillers, they only have to meet the basic requirement, the very, very, very basic requirement. Our bodies, we're in constant battle. We're in an unseen battle between the food industries and ourselves. When I know it is not easy, but on this journey and on this channel, I'm here to encourage you to go back to the basics of food. How can we tackle it? The very beginning, the very basic one. Do away with this your New Year resolution. This New Year resolution is a scam. It is a scam. Instead of focusing on the new year to restart, focus on what is at the end of that your spoon, the end of the fork, what is on your plate to eat. Because when you understand it, whilst you might be thinking and working with your plan, your body does not have calendar. It doesn't work with calendar. It doesn't know calendar. All it knows is input, output, input, output. By the time you abuse this body 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, before you know it, you are now presenting with one health issue or another. Why don't nip it in the bud? Understand they're not doing you favor. Number 2, on this journey, you see that glossy, nice packages. When you pick up whatever item in the supermarket, in your grocery shop, I'm talking about where we all go to a big grocery. I'm not going to name names here. Whatever it is, no matter how pretty that package is, for the love of Christ, turn to the ingredient list. If that ingredient is reading something that is looking longer than your arm, is reading something that doesn't make any sense to you, you are beginning to get something that is no longer sounding like food, or you don't even know what it is. My brother, my sister, it's no longer food. You are now dealing with food like substance. It is now up to you to think, do you want to eat it or should I just forget it? That's number 2. Number 3, it's important to know that it's not just about, even if we get the right food, it's about having a clear understanding of when should we eat, when should we take a break, because your organs also need time to rest. I mean, it's not very common here, but in the parts of in Africa, where most people, some of the African countries where you people have their generator, we understand the concept that you cannot run your generator from morning till night 24/7 365 days without it breaking down. So it is vitally important that you understand there are times to eat. I know it is this what I'm talking about. Some people will say in the comment, well, you haven't got a clue. I have been there. It is very difficult when you're working shift pattern. For some of us, we'll work night shift. For some people, they do day shift. Day shift is a lot easier, but it's the people that do night shift. That's the people that you find yourself, you're eating at all times. When your organs are supposed to sleep is when you're eating. But this channel is not about dictating and telling you it has to be day, because let's be practical, life is real. Life is real. Sometimes you're dealt with, you're given lemons and you have to make a lemonade out of it. But what I'm saying is, even if you find yourself in that practical, try not to eat 24/7. Have gap. If you've done night shift, if you've eaten at 8 o'clock before your night shift, or you're starting your night shift, if you're in the medical field, you're starting your night shift at 9 p.m. If it's possible, eat earlier. If it's not possible, you can't help it. But if you have to enable to keep yourself awake, because I have been there as a student, then instead of reaching for that bag of sweets that you're carrying in your bag, why don't you have a whole fruit? Cut up the fruit. Why don't you have a whole fruit in your bag instead of reaching for that packet of crisp? Why don't you pick up some carrots or something? I know some of the things that I'm mentioning, you would have to make a mental conscious effort, but it's a way that without dragging this all out. But if you work day shift, there is no reason why at the end of the day you cannot have your last meal by 7 p.m. and close your mouth and go to bed. Even if you feel peckish because you're doing the transition, instead of reaching for another bag of chocolate, my brother, my sister, reach for a bag of fruit. Take a fruit. Even if that's at that time of the night, reach for fruit. The fruit is better than eating that candy. This is another one. And then the last but not the least, I want you all to understand that the one thing this system, the food industry cannot tax, is a healthy system. Because when you think about it, all the cheap food that is out there, all the so-called basic food that they have turned something that is supposed to be nutritious into something that is a junk, loaded in it fundamentally. Don't you ever wonder why those are the cheapest food you would ever find in the supermarket, in your grocery store? The ones that are the bag of chips that have been triple fried for what? For who? For where? Those are cheaper than if you go to pick up a bag of fruit, fresh vegetable, your eyes will water. It's all designed that if they don't catch you with that, so that you eat that, when you get sick, you are taxed to look after yourself. I mean, you can argue if you live in Europe, you live in UK, people might say, well, it's free, but it's not really free because the system is not free. We are all paying into it. It's a different kettle of fish with the people that live in the US of A. Because I mean, let's park that conversation one side. But the real reason why I'm encouraging you in today's video, why I started this journey by telling you your New Year resolution is a scam. Get rid of it. The reason why I'm reminding you why it is fundamentally in your own best interest is, see, when you have a healthy system, they cannot tax you. But they tax you, telling you to buy those cheap things, those cheap food that are loaded with fillers, with things that are the emulsifiers. They're loaded with the fructose syrup that are not good for you. There's a fundamental reason, because when you fall sick, you must pay in to cure yourself. It's a vicious cycle that at the end of the day, they don't have your interest. Well, the main thing, if you take away anything on this video today, is I'm encouraging you, do not look at the glossy pack, the front pack of your product. Please read the back. Read the back, read the ingredient list. And if you start seeing a list that is getting longer than your arm, if you start seeing a list that you cannot understand what they're talking about, instead of palm oil, you're seeing something else. Instead of sugar, cane sugar, less white sugar. You're now seeing fructose syrup, yeast extract, and etc. etc. If you start seeing that, just quietly leave it where you found it. Because what you're seeing is no longer food. You have journeyed and crossed into food-like substances. They are not one and the same, no matter how much you try and sell it. If there's nothing else I leave you here with today, New Year resolution is a scam. Your body does not understand it. Your body does not understand using the calendar. All your body understands is input, output. I leave you with a proverb that you must remind yourself. It is my favorite proverb that says, when the bird learned how to fly without perching, the hunter must learn how to shoot without missing. That is one clear thing. Well, thank you for joining us on another session of Nourish, Flourish, Vida, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.